Hello again. Installing pocket door lock. So what we got in terms of fittings, we have a keep pocket, some screws, a little lock that does got hook rather than bolt, some door furniture, so thumb turn on inside and a key operated from outside. So that will be the bathroom one, and it goes on this pocket door here. Customer wants it on the height of that rail, so it will go there as such. So first we need to establish relation between handle and the lock itself, because as you can see, the lock itself sits lower down to the handle, and the handle will have to be centered between these two bars. So you have to find the center there on the handle and transfer that on a lock, and it's going to be somewhere there, so we know exactly where to lower the lock below the center, so the handle is going to sit centered with this mid bar here, mid rail. I hope this makes more sense. So when the handle is attached to the lock itself, center of the handle is on 80 millimeters, whereas the whole handle is 160, and you can see clearly that lock doesn't sit in the center, it's further down below. So the center point of 80 is there, and the handle goes 30 millimeters above and about 55 millimeters below. That's what I need to drill. So I need to find the center of this rail, transfer it there, and then go 30 millimeters up and 55 down to drill for the lock. And with a square I have transferred the line for the top and bottom of the rail, then found the distance between these 2 points, halved it, went 30 millimeters up and 55 millimeters down, center with the door. So I need to drill for the lock in that position there. So I'll get my auger bits or flat bits and just drill a series of holes there in the depth slightly deeper than the lock itself. Once the holes are drilled, I'm going to use a chisel and square up the edges by just pushing in, maybe a little bit with the use of the hammer to make a nice square hole. Once the hole has been cleared, take a lock, put the lock into the hole and center it within the gap, because you can feel that there is a bit of play there. Firmly hold it with one hand and then outline gently with a sharp knife with a blade all the way around the lock to outline the plate. Once that is all been scored, you take a lock out and you got your outline for chiseling out. You can with a sharp chisel chisel that out, and that will in the depth of the thickness of the plate, face plate, and that will then allow the lock to be recessed in flush with the surface of the door. Once you have chiseled that out, the lock will fit in nicely. You have to transfer the bolt position back on the face of the door on both sides with a bit of measuring using a tape measure pencil, square, mark up and drill the hole through for the bolt. Right, now once we have drilled for the bolt, we have to make a rebate for the pocket side of the handle. As you can see, the handle has to be set into the door. So we got these two sections, the round section and rectangle section, that we'll need to transfer the measurements onto the door, and then we can rebate it out with a small router on both sides. There you go, the measurements of these backing plates have been transferred. Also the holes for the bolts, fixing bolts will go through. Same on this side, only for this side there is a bit of round bit there, so I'll have to go slightly over the edges. So I'm going to drill the holes for the bolts first, top and bottom, then I'm going to router out on the depth of these pockets. Using this small handheld Makita cordless router, I'm going to router out gently in few passes to desired depth, freehand around the marked up area. Once it's routed out, dust settled, you can remove your respirator and then just put it all together. You might need to cut back this flat bolt, because usually it's been left longer for thicker doors. Now, to measure how much of that leaf we need to cut, you gently place the other side without pushing the outer plate, and then measure the gap between the inner plate and the door, because that's how much you need to cut that leaf, so this inner plate can go further in and sit flush with the door. Once the pin has been shortened, put the plates together and fit connecting screws. Now we're gonna mark up for the keep plate. This is the locky bit, and the keep plate will obviously go on the frame. Now we want to see in what relation to the lock this keep plate will sit. It will have to sit roughly like that. So if I mark that up on the door and transfer then the measurements from the door onto the frame, and then I can set the keep in properly. There you go, that's a keep transferred onto the frame, and because we're going to use this little make it pretty pocket for the keep, we'll turn it inside out, position it there. It says on it up side, there it says up, so we're going to put it there like that, position it between two holes and transfer the mark onto the frame. I'm going to drill that out as well. Once it's all been drilled out, we can then fit it in, including that little white pocket inside, and then test it. There you go. And that's how to install a lock on a pocket door. So all you need to do now is just to put a little door stop there, so when it's locked, because it can still be moved a little bit about for the privacy to that gap, you just put a little door stop on this side.